Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Tamika. Today I'm going to be doing my Kindle Unlimited check-in.
Don't you wanna have fun? Fool around someone?
I have not done a Kindle Unlimited check-in since I think about March. And though I've not read a ton in the last 2 months, I have used the service enough to justify a update. So I'm going to jump into that and talk about the books that I have checked out from Kindle Unlimited. I do want to say that I'm going to do this a little bit different than normal. I am going to talk about one book that I'm currently reading, then get into the DNFs and the read books, what I've returned, and then lastly what I have checked out right now. So the book that I'm currently reading is Dollhouse. This is a reverse harem that I had on my checked out list the last time I did an update, and the reason why I want to specifically say I'm currently reading this is because I'm not sure if I'm going to DNF it or not. The story started really strong and I was really interested in the heroine that we were following the perspective from, but within 5 chapters we no longer in that perspective. We are in a different person's perspective and it feels like I started a whole new book. I'm just not sure how that is going. I'm just not sure how those two things are going to merge back together and how it's going to really make sense. I'm not 100% sure. If we can get back and it be interesting like it was in the perspective that I was originally enjoying, then I will definitely be continuing this. So I'm just going to kind of stick it out a little bit longer, but if not, I'm going to end up DNFing it. So I want to just include it in my currently reading. So I've read like 20% of this. I don't know anything other than it is a reverse harem. I can't tell you how we start the book off, because we start the book off with a girl in an abusive relationship, and then 5 chapters in we completely switch to a perspective of a girl who's a stripper. I don't know how they tie together, but I'm hoping somehow decent. Then I have Creep, which is a dark romance that I was very excited to read, but I ended up having to DNF it because there was just too much talk of self-harm in here, like too many descriptions of self-harm. This one specifically follows a girl who is going to be a captive, so it's a captive romance, or her father sells her off to pay off a debt, and he has like a substance abuse issue, and that's how he's going to pay his debt off, is by using his daughter. I DNF'd it. I'm not gonna go back to this because the self-harm is just too much. I don't want to read about that. Personally, I'm just not interested in self-harm or reading about books that deal with that in that kind of way. Then the last book that I have that was a DNF was Land of Horrors. This is a Candyland retelling. This one specifically is following our main hero, who is a fae. He is the kingdom of this land, and one of the girls come in from the human world and he wants her to be his mate. This one had a lot of potential, but I just could not get invested in the characters. I felt like the story was just a little lackluster, but the concept and the idea was fantastic. I just didn't love the execution. I felt like it was just weak. Now, I did say that the next time I have one of these updates, I will have read Tristic's Venom by Penelope Douglas, and I can say I have in fact read Tristic's Venom by Penelope Douglas. I was very pleasantly surprised with this one. I absolutely adored the story. I loved watching these two girls get happily ever after, and I loved the story and just how they interacted with one another. I really felt like their motivations made sense, and they worked together really well, and it made me really happy to see. I felt like their relationship was very wholesome once you got like into their actual romance. I just wanted to squeeze the shit out of them because I love them so much. I don't have a ton that I want to say about this. This is a dark romance. This is a bully romance. These girls are both on the lacrosse team. They are in a Catholic school setting. We have a heroine who does not have a mom or a dad. She is being taken care of by her siblings. Her siblings all kind of work together to take care of each other. Then our other heroine, her name is Clay. She has a mom and a dad, but her brother has passed away from leukemia, and she has a really broken family. This one was just so beautiful, and I loved the acceptance that was in here for the character who gets to come out. It was precious, and I just love this book. I also want to talk about Third Comes Vengeance, which I haven't talked about in the Kindle Unlimited update. I finished it. Oh, church just sneezed. I finished Third Comes Vengeance. This is the 3rd book in the First Comes Blood series. Is that what it's called? I don't even know at this point. 3rd book by Lilith Vincent. This is a reverse harem following a girl who is traded off to 4 mafia bosses. So it's a mafia romance, reverse harem. Why choose? There's breeding kink in this last book. I did feel like we could have just cut out like a chunk of this one and it would have been perfect. I don't feel like it should have been a duet. I don't feel like it should have been a trilogy. I felt like it should have been a duet, but that's just personal preference. I love Brianna. I love Lilith. I'm gonna continue to read whatever they put out, but this one could have been shorter is my only complaint. I also read Ajin's volume 2 through 5. This is a series that you can read through Kindle Unlimited, obviously. This is a manga series that's actually available. This is a horror series, essentially following immortal people who are not quite human. They are demi-humans. They are a different strand of humans, essentially, and you don't know if it's a demi-human until they die, because when they die, they come back to life and they regenerate in a way to be whole again. The government is actually studying them and trying to find the cure for death, essentially, through these demi-humans. And we're following a boy who has no idea he's a demi-human and then gets hit by a bus. Next up, I want to talk about The Girl Next Door by Jack Ketchum. I freaking love horror, but this one will turn your stomach. This one is based off a real life case of a girl named Cynthia Likens, and essentially the girl is given to her extended family. The aunt that takes them in is really jealous of the girls and is just not nice to them, like really mean to them, and they do some absolutely cruel and disgusting things to these poor girls, and I really feel for them. I was so invested the entire time. This is told from the perspective of a boy in the town that they're in, and it was just really hard to read. It was really hard to stomach. It was just a gruesome tale because they absolutely torture this poor girl. It is a lot, so know that going in if you want to check it out. But even though it was a lot and it was horrible, and I don't want to say I loved it because I did not love what was happening to our heroine, I loved the story. I felt like it did exactly what it was supposed to do. It made me uncomfortable. It made me sick. It made me absolutely disgusted with humanity, and that's exactly what you were supposed to get out of this story, because that's what you should get out of this case. So it's fantastic. I loved it. Please go read it if you think you have the stomach for it. I also have a couple more manga that I want to talk about relatively quickly. I want to talk about Happiness volume 6 through 8. This is a story by the mangaka who does Blood on the Tracks. This is a vampire story. I cannot tell you a lot about this other than it is an ensemble character cast, and essentially this story takes place over 10 years and there's vampires. I'm not gonna tell you anything else, but I loved it. So if you want to check it out, the first 8 are on Kindle Unlimited. I also checked out Parasite volume 1. This is one that I have been dying to get my hands on and I have been wanting to read for a long time, and I finally got around to doing it. This is essentially about a alien parasite that ends up coming into Earth and coming into people's brains and attaching itself to their brains, eating the brains, and then fully developing and taking control of the human hosts and then eating other humans. And this is following a boy who does not have the parasite get into his brain. It ends up taking over his hand and he loses control of his hands at times. That kind of thing is happening, and I find it hilarious. I feel like it's dark comedy rather than it is actually horror, but there is some body horror in here and things like that. I highly enjoyed this. I'm definitely going to be continuing the series. I accidentally forgot one of my DNFs, but I have The Unseen. This is one that I read 3 pages. Ashley said do not read it, and I said cool, won't do it. It was supposed to be a buddy read with Ashley, and she was like, I'll just spare you. I'll tell you what happens. This is basically like glorified Friday the 13th fan fiction in the worst way possible. Speaking back on the topic of horror, and actually good horror, I have Splatterfest, which I highly enjoyed. This story was fantastic, for one, because it was just so fun, so entertaining. This is literally about a cult. So like we have a cult, the cult leader, he commits mass homicide, he kills himself, and these directors in Hollywood decide, hey, let's make a feature-length film out of that, and let's also have the premiere of that be at the place, at the compound where all this shit happened, where all of it went down, you know? Like really bring it full circle. And then to like make it even better, it's a full-ass horror convention, right? And then everybody starts dying. And you don't know if it's paranormal or if there's a person pulling all the strings. You have no clue. And we're following our heroine who's just trying to do her job, and she's just like, I didn't sign up for this, I'm just trying to do my job. I loved it. It was fantastic. I have Maybe Next Time by Christina C. Jones. This was a dark romance. We have a criminal hero, and he essentially has not listened to his wife, and his wife is wanting to divorce him. And he won't let her. I really enjoyed this. I wish we could have gotten more from the characters. I wish it was longer so that we could have got more development between the two of them. I feel like I just needed more from their relationship. I needed a little bit more in regards to them working things back out. I feel like it wrapped up too quickly. That was my major complaint with that one. Other than that, it was a really good story. It was a good read. I just wish we could have got more within those two characters, and the forgiveness wouldn't have been so easy. Then I read The Dark One by Nikki St. Crow. And we also have The Dark One by Nikki St. Crow. This is the sequel to The Never King. This is the dark reverse harem Peter Pan retelling. I'm not going to tell you all the thoughts that I have on this because you will be seeing that in my wrap up at the end of the month, but chef's kiss. I love this. I will never shut the fuck up about the series. Thank you, May, for that. Alright, so let's talk about the books I've returned. I only returned one book, and that is Lessons in Corruption by Gianna Darling. Now I know what you're thinking. Tamika, why are you returning that one? I have the audiobook. I'm not gonna read it with my eyes. I know myself. I'm not gonna do it. If I'm gonna read it, it's gonna be through audio. So I'm at this point just waiting until I get in the mood to read it through audio. I'm gonna quickly run through the books that I have checked out from Kindle Unlimited, and we will talk about them. So I did check out 3 volumes of Can You Just Die My Darling, volume 2, 3, and 4. I just want to continue the series. I know that they are pulling a lot of manga from Kindle Unlimited. This is one I specifically want to get to before it gets pulled. This is literally about a guy who has an intense urge to kill his crush. Dark romance lovers, I'll let you know if this one's good for you at some point in the near future, because I should be getting through this one relatively soon. I also have My Little Monster, which this is just volume 1. I have no idea what the story is about other than it's manga, and it was available in Kindle Unlimited, and I've heard decent things, so it's like a romancy type of story. We'll find out how it actually is once I actually get to it, but so far, that's what I know about it. I also have Sacrifice by Katie Robert. Is anyone shocked that this ended up back on my Kindle Unlimited checkouts? I got in the mood that I wanted to read something short, smutty, and vampire-like, and I said, Katie Robert, that's the perfect book to read. And then I just never got around to it. I was kind of in that middle phase of, I need more Never King, but there's nothing like it that I can read. So it got checked out. It might get read, it might get returned. I really don't know. Then I found one that's called A Curse of Shadows and Thorns. This is a romantic fairy tale fantasy romance. And I don't know if you know this or not, but I don't like fantasy romances, but I have been just dying over the fantasy romance retellings. That is my jam. That is where it's at. That's what I'm addicted to right now. And this sounds absolutely fantastic. I know nothing about this other than it's a fairy tale retelling, and I want to know nothing else about it because it just seems fantastic and I don't want my heart crushed. Then I have A Promise of Torment. This is a dark reverse harem serial killer romance. I have no idea anything else about it, but it's a reverse harem and it's dark and it's serial killer. So if you were interested in that, there you go. I also have The Ruthless Demon King. This is by Nikki St. Crow. I am going to get to this sooner rather than later. This is like the top of my Kindle Unlimited TBR. I just gotta prioritize my entire life, and I've not done that. So that's where we're at with that. I have Reminders of Him by Colleen Hoover. Again, I just haven't gotten to this yet. I just need to get it together and read this. I have no idea what it's about, but it's Coho, and that's all I needed to know, apparently. Also have Tender is the Flesh. This is still on here from the video that I'm doing, the secret video that I'm working on that I can't tell you about, but I'll give you a hint that this is horror, and that this specifically is following a post-apocalyptic world where the meat is tainted and we are now eating humans. Cupid Psycho, another one that just will not get off this list. Actually, you know, the more I'm reading through these, the more I'm like, just fucking return it. Tamika, you're not gonna read it. This is one that I'm just like, just fucking return it. I don't think I'm ever gonna read Cupid Psycho. I'm just gonna return it. Forget it. This is cleaning out the TBR with Tamika. Hi, how's it going? I'm Tamika. We have The Ritual, which is one I still want to read. Again, college dark romance, bully romance, pretty sure reverse harem, I'm not 100% sure, but this is like 600 pages and I just don't have the brain for that. At what point did anyone think Tamika has the brain for a long ass book? I sure the fuck don't. I have Scarred. This is by Emily McIntyre. She wrote Hooked. This is another retelling. Do I know what this retelling is? No. I want to say it's The Lion King, but I'm pretty sure I'm wrong about that. I also have Promises and Pomegranates. This is a Hades and Persephone. Very dark according to my friend Izzy. I have Camp Slaughter, which is about 4 horror authors that, I think this is about 4 horror authors, or it's about a camp that has like a slasher situation. I know nothing. It's fine. I don't know why anyone would expect me to know anything in a video, because that's not what you signed up for when you signed up for my channel. I hate to break it to everybody. We have There Are No Saints by Sophie Lark. This one is a serial killer romance that I've heard fantastic things about, and I just love serial killers, and I want to get to this as soon as possible. I know nothing else. This is literally about 2 serial killers who are rivals, and they are also artists, and they use artistry in their serial killer stuff. And one of them is like obsessed with her heroin. Then we have Venandi, which is a female vampire romance, and I don't know if you're new here or not, but hi. If it's sapphic, I'm in. And if it's vampires, I'm in. So obviously I had to check this one out. Did I start reading this one? Yeah, I read like 15% of it, and I said, I don't want to read this anymore, but it's still checked out because I'm going to go back to it. I did not hard DNF it. I just stopped reading it at the time that I was reading it. And then we have The Bully by Sophie Lark. Is anyone shocked that the book's still on there? Because I've not even remotely started Sophie Lark yet. Yeah, I didn't think so. I don't know why Kindle Unlimited gave me access to 20 titles at once. Probably not the best idea. Probably wasn't their smartest move, because I don't go through 20 titles in a month. Let me know down in the comments if you've read any of the books I have checked out and which ones I should prioritize. And Phoenix and I will see you all in the next video. If you're still here, go ahead and leave me a football emoji down in the comments, and we will see you all in the next one. Bye, everyone. Oh, did I hit you in the mouth? I'm so sorry.
Don't you wanna have fun? Don't you wanna have some fun?
Yeah, his baby said that they don't got a future like us.